girl, hold on to your wigs because the tea is hotter than Houston asphalt in July. If you thought Beyonce was untouchable, think again. Whispers that once lived only in the corners of Houston clubs and barbershops are now exploding into full-blown courtroom drama. And guess who's right in the middle of it? The queen herself, Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter. Now let's rewind for a sec. If you were anywhere near Houston during the early 2000s, says you definitely heard those whispers. The ones about a certain tape involving none other than Pimp C. And guess whose name was dropped in the middle of that scandal? Drum roll, please. Beyonce, allegedly.
Who was in this Pimp C tape?
All I can tell you, there was a famous R&B chick, and it was a guy that was getting money at the time. And, Pimp, he used to be in the studio. And every now and then he'd have a camcorder, so he was able to get some footage. And he wanted to do something with the footage, but I don't know why he didn't do nothing with it, but if I could have got a hold of that tape, I'd be a billionaire, man. Whoever it was, they would have to kill me, man. I know TMZ would have paid a bank for that one, man. But yeah, it is a tape, and if you read the comments, a lot of people figured out. Okay. A lot of people figured out because, people that was in Houston at the time, they know who was a little loose.
But babe, that's just the beginning. Word on the streets and in the court docs is that Beyonce's name is gonna come up a lot in Diddy's explosive trial. We're talking prosecutors ready to lay it all out. Freak-offs, international transport of girls, what she really knew about Cassie, and how Jay-Z allegedly covered it all up behind the scenes. Everything is being thrown into the courtroom fire.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough? You just wanna go down there and you wanna just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
And honey, the prosecution ain't playing. According to Inside Scoops, they're planning to expose Beyonce's racy past. Yes, spicy, messy, unfiltered moments that have been whispered about in industry corners for years are about to take center stage.
And she was trained at the esteemed Berklee College of Music. Handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington, Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington, who put together Beyonce's entire female band, which was Matthew Knowles' idea because he couldn't get Beyonce to stop people. Guess you didn't know your daughter well enough because she just started all the girls.
Let's be real here. People are asking, how could Beyonce and Jay-Z be such close friends and business partners with Diddy for 2 decades and claim they had no idea what he was up to, vacationing together, doing business, attending wild parties, knowing all the kids, and still innocent? Please. And that's why insiders are saying don't be surprised if both Beyonce and Jay-Z get called to the stand. Because in these kinds of trials, everything, and I mean everything, gets dragged out. Skeletons, secrets, shady deals, freaky stories, all of it. And Beyonce's alleged history? Ooh sis, it's wild. Prosecutors reportedly want to frame her as one of the girls who were transported across borders. Yes, you heard that right. And to prove it, they're digging into her entire past, including when she really started dating Jay-Z. And let's not forget the stories about her alleged involvement in those infamous freak-offs. That's where the Pimp C tape comes crashing into the picture. So here's a little throwback for context. Pimp C signed with Jive Records in 1992 with his group UGK, alongside Bun B. Their albums, Too Hard to Swallow, Super Tight, and Ridin' Dirty all hit the Billboard 200, but it was their 2000 collab with Jay-Z on Big Pimpin' that shot them into mainstream stardom. The song hit 18 on the Billboard Hot 100 and topped the rhythmic charts, huge deal, but then things went sideways. UGK went on hiatus in the early 2000s, and Pimp pursued a solo career. Then came the tragedy. On Jay-Z's own birthday in December 2007, Pimp C was found dead in a hotel room. Officially, it was ruled as complications from sleep apnea and lean consumption. But oh baby, not everyone's buying that. Here's where it gets messy. DJ Paul from 3 6 Mafia claims Pimp C's body was found kneeling, like he was praying, but there was blood everywhere. Yes, blood. They thought he might have been hit in the head. Candles were burned to the bottom, which told them he'd likely been gone for a whole day. Too Short even said it didn't add up. In fact, he said, there's too many of these weird hotel deaths. And they're always alone. It's given cover up. It's given Hollywood Horror Story.
It's like, I heard some shit about he has clothes on or something. I don't know. Like, I don't really know if all this is true, but I just heard parts like, I'm like, what happened to my guy?
Right.
And then they come out with the official. It was a mixture of some stuff, the prescription and something else or something that I don't really know. But with me, I never really heard something that would give that closure for me. I never really heard anything tangible or true, like what happened to my guy.
Now buckle up, because this is where the Beyonce connection gets really insane. Rumors have floated for years that Jay-Z allegedly had something to do with Pimp C's mysterious death, and it all traces back to Beyonce. Why? Because allegedly Pimp C had a fling with her. Yep, that's what the whispers say. And here's what makes it even more shady. Pimp C reportedly never liked Jay-Z, like at all. Greg Taylor, a record executive, told The Art of Dialogue about an awkward speakerphone call between Jay-Z and Pimp right after their Big Pimpin' collab was confirmed. Jay called to talk business, and Pimp straight up dissed him right then and there. Zero respect.
Ended up a meeting to go meet with Dame Dash. So we go, after I leave Java, go to Rock. To the Rock. As soon as I sit down there, Dame Dash opened up his checkbook, cut a check for $1 million. I'm like, whoa. He like, I was like, is this for sure? He was like, nah. He said, we want to UGK. I was like, what? He's like, we want to with your boys. That's right. So I immediately picked up the phone and called Pimp C, because all I was trying to get was 100,000. When Dame cut that $1 million, I called Pimp on the phone like, yo, Pimp, and him and Jamal was in the house. And I could hear a tussle or some type of confrontation, right? And I'm like, calm down, bro. Y'all calm down, Pimp.
I ran up the cable bill.
They was fighting. Okay, they was fighting like hard. And I'm like, Pimp, stop whatever you doing right now. I told you what was going down with Jamal when you moved him up in there. I said, but right now, I got $1 million check for you. All we want was 100,000. I was just like, who is that with? I said, with Rockefeller. He was like, what? I was like, yeah. He was like, I'm watching Dan with the checkbook, he writing it out. He was like, ain't that with, over there with Jay-Z? I was like, yeah. He was like, man, tell him to take that check and go give it to Tupac Mama, man. He's gonna be stealing all my shit. I was like, what?
Pimp even turned down $1 million from Jay's label, calling them out and telling them to give it to Tupac's mama instead. What kind of shade is that? It wasn't just personal, it was principle. Pimp wasn't here to play the industry game. He spoke out loudly. He called out Jay-Z, he called out Diddy. He didn't care about the consequences, and that's dangerous in an industry full of secrets and power. Then add in the alleged hookup with Beyonce, and boom, you've got the ultimate recipe for disaster. According to Bun B, one time they were all in the studio, Beyonce, Pimp, and a few others. Jay-Z called the studio to check who was around Beyonce, and when he heard she was wearing something spicy, he demanded all the men leave the room, especially Pimp C. Like, what was he afraid of?
So he's like, wait a minute, how many dudes are there? And so she's like, oh, it's about 9 or 10 guys, I guess, over there. Where are they now? They're in here, they're in the soundstage, they're kind of watching, watching her film. What is she wearing? They describe the outfit, and he's like, yo, clear the room.
Wow.
So they immediately come over to us, and they kick all of us out, send us up to our dressing rooms.
Wow.
And we're told to stay there until we have to shoot.
Okay.
We're not allowed to watch Beyonce dance anymore in the video.
And it wasn't just Jay-Z. Beyonce's own DAD reportedly warned Pimp C to stay away from his daughter. What was he so worried about? Was there already something going on?
Hanging out, and Matthew Knowles comes in, and he asks Pimp, can I talk to you for a minute? And so they leave out for a couple of minutes, and Pimp comes in, and he's dying laughing. And we're like, what's wrong? He's like, yo, Matthew Knowles just told me don't f the daughter, man. Please don't. Please. My daughter.
Now, here's where things hit courtroom level drama. All of this could come up if Beyonce takes the stand, because she has already been mentioned in connection to this case. Yes, multiple times. Sources say Cassie actually implicated both Jay-Z and Beyonce in her initial lawsuit, the one that was allegedly 60 pages long before it got cut down to 35. and those missing pages, that's where Beyonce and Jay's names allegedly came up. Cassie's claims included them witnessing Diddy hit her, yes, at one of Diddy's wild parties. After he allegedly struck her, Cassie ran upstairs and locked herself in a bedroom. Security had to track her down, and she stayed in that room for over 30 minutes trying to collect herself. When she finally came down, Beyonce and Jessica Alba were in the foyer waiting to comfort her. Beyonce was furious, and when Diddy and Jay-Z came into the room, she went off on both of them, screaming at Diddy, saying what he did was disgusting. She even told Jay-Z she was losing respect for him for comforting Diddy instead of standing up for what's right. According to the reports, Diddy dropped to his knees and apologized not just to Cassie, but also to Beyonce and Jessica. The moment was that intense. Cassie ended up leaving with Jessica Alba instead of Beyonce, allegedly because Diddy would track her down if she left with Bey due to Jay-Z's connection with him. Woo! And don't forget what Jaguar Wright said, that Jay-Z and Beyonce are a nasty couple who allegedly keep people against their will, put them on planes while unconscious, and transport them across borders for you-know-what. The same accusations that are now plaguing Diddy's court case.
Victims potentially, do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping
Porter?
people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. And everyone knows it. The wiretapping of the phones, putting air tag on children during visits. These are normal practices that these people do.
So tell me this, how many connections do you need before things start looking suspicious? Freak-offs, violent parties, border hopping, mystery tapes, shady deaths. The puzzle pieces are falling into place. And could Jay-Z have been involved in Pimp C's untimely death? The streets have been whispering about that for years. There's no concrete proof, but sometimes smoke means fire. And now that Diddy's entire empire is crumbling, don't be shocked if the whole industry starts coming down with him. Let's talk about motive. If Jay-Z really believed Pimp C was involved with Beyonce, and if that spicy outfit in the studio incident really sent him over the edge, then it's not just jealousy, it's rage, it's control, it's get him out of the picture energy. And it's that same need for control that seems to connect Jay-Z and Diddy, both surrounded by rumors of keeping people quiet and making problems disappear. And now it's all starting to reappear thanks to this trial. Because you know how it works. Once the court cracks open the vault, everything spills out. Stuff that happened 5, 10, even 20 years ago becomes fair game. And Beyonce's past? Baby, it ain't as squeaky clean as her press team wants us to believe. There's also the claim from Jaguar Wright that Jay and Bey allegedly moved people around like pawns on private jets while unconscious, for you gotta know, allegedly. And now that Diddy's accused of the same exact thing, suddenly it doesn't sound so far-fetched anymore. And don't think the prosecution isn't going to link those patterns. They live for patterns. If Jay-Z and Beyonce were present at multiple parties where this behavior took place, if they saw things and said nothing, if they benefited from their friendship with Diddy, they might not be the focus of the case, but they will definitely be dragged into it. But let's be honest, what happens if Beyonce's name is mentioned in connection to freak-offs or trafficking accusations on the witness stand? What happens to her brand, her tours, her endorsements? What happens to Ivy Park, to Blue Ivy, and the twins growing up in the shadow of court transcripts and scandal documentaries? And what about Jay-Z, the billionaire, the business mogul, the man who went from Marcy Projects to the boardroom? What happens to all of that when people start questioning whether he helped cover up abuse? Or worse, whether he made sure people who knew too much disappeared? It's like watching royalty fall from grace. And not just any royalty. This is the Beyonce, Queen Bey, the woman who's inspired millions, the woman who turned Lemonade into anthems, and now possibly into handcuffs, or at the very least, a courtroom seat she never thought she'd occupy. But look, even if Beyonce never ends up on trial herself, just being named in this mess could be enough to tarnish her legacy. Because let's be real, the internet never forgets. If the prosecution presents enough damning associations, if witnesses mention her in disturbing context, if even one victim connects her to a shady situation, it's over. And if Jay-Z has even the slightest role in this conspiracy of silence, in aiding and abetting, if the whispers about Pimp C turn into testimony, Chile, the Carters better lawyer up, because this could get historic. And honestly, we should have seen it coming. No one gets that rich, that powerful, that untouchable without stepping on people, without secrets, without enemies. And Diddy's downfall may just be the key that unlocks the Carter closet of skeletons. Because if this trial has proven anything, it's that Hollywood doesn't have friends, it has allies of convenience. And when one ally falls, the others scramble to save themselves. And sometimes that means throwing even your closest friends under the bus. So what happens next? Will Beyonce be called to testify? Will the tape rumors be confirmed? Will Pimp C's death finally be reinvestigated? Who knows? But one thing's for sure, the Queen is not as untouchable as she thought. And the kingdom she and Jay-Z built on image, illusion, and alleged silence may be shaking from the inside out. And if those courtroom doors swing open and she steps in, baby, we're all watching. But now it's your turn. What do you think? Can Beyonce survive this? Or is the truth about to do what no critic, no scandal, no lemonade ever could and bring the Queen down? Let us know in the comments, because this one is far from over.